good, everybody? It's Infinite. Another episode of GTV Bricklayer Productions Q&A. Today we out here in Elizabeth Park, home of the famous Rose Garden. But unfortunately, the Rose Garden is not in bloom right now. But I'm gonna tell you what is in bloom. This guy that we got here that's gonna be on our camera today, who's a fashion designer who goes by the name of Kantius McFly Stitch Joshua. We're gonna get up in his head with a little bit of Q&A. So stay tuned. Roll intro. What's good, people? Welcome back to GTV Bricklayer Productions Q&A. And today we have a very special guest by the name of Kantius McFly Stitch Joshua, who happens to be a fashion designer. We're gonna ask him a little Q&A, get up in his head, and we're gonna talk about his product and his design. First of all, thanks for having me.
Anytime,
you know
bro.
what I'm saying?
Anytime.
Appreciate you coming out. I know people's schedules are busy and everything like that, but you decided to come out anyways. So with that being said, let's talk about you, the man, and then you, the designer. Give the people a little bit.
Well, you know, like my friend, Danny said, my name is Kantius Joshua. My fashion brand is McFly Stitch. I've always been into fashion, since I was a young lad. Just watching, my mom, my dad, just put certain items together and stuff like that, and how they dress me. I always, just went to school, just always just laid and decked out, So as I got older, I say around like 9, 10, 11 years old, just going through certain, just magazines, as far as it being at the barbershop, my family member's house or my house or whatever. I just started, just putting like certain collages, together, that piqued my interest. Not just with fashion, with art too, abstract art, shapes, and things of that nature. That also helps me, when it comes down to me creating and things of that nature. I think it probably was around like when I moved out of my house, with my parents and my younger sibling. I moved into my grandmother's house. I stayed on the top floor, the 3rd floor. And leading up to me going up to my room on the 3rd floor, it was always a sewing machine right there in the middle. And going over my grandmother's house, that sewing machine was always there. It's older than me, she still has it. And I never thought that while I was growing up that I would take a liking to the sewing machine.
But you did.
Exactly.
All right.
So everything just came full circle. I never asked my grandmother how to sew. I always knew it was a sewing machine. I watched her sew for years, but I just never thought that I would take a liking to it. Because it's just always a big misconception about fashion and sewing and stuff. People think it's for women, but it's for men also. It's for all walks of life.
Yeah. So what was it like getting on that sewing machine for the first time? Like,
honestly, for the first time, I was nervous. Okay. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not know what I was doing at all. It's a machine, so if you're not careful, you can hurt your fingers.
Safety first, people.
You understand what I'm saying? So I still get nicked every now and then, with needles and stuff like that. But it comes with the territory. My first time, I was honestly discouraged. I would use that word, to describe it best.
Okay.
But trial and error. The more that I am on it, the more comfortable, and I'm always surprised myself when I'm done, performing whatever job that I have, assigned to me.
Oh, okay. So, with that being said, other than your parents and your grandmother's sewing machine, who were some of your inspirations to get into this line?
Oh, wow. My biggest growing up was Ralph Lauren, Polo. How Polo is a household name, and when I started, designing, when I came up with my brand, McFly Stitch, the main goal for me was legacy. That word, legacy. Like I wanted to be a staple. I wanted to be a household name, and I knew that would take a lot, but I was ready for it. Because at the end of the day, with me, with my brand, I don't want it to be accessible to everybody, because it's not for everybody. You understand what I'm trying to say? I want everybody exclusive. I want everybody, obviously, to to gravitate and to know about my brand, but it's not for everybody. It's only for the chosen. I'm not the type of designer who makes 1,000 pieces or 100 pieces. I can produce that much, but that's not my that's not my vision. It's exclusive amount of pieces and things of that nature, and if you want it that bad, you're going to get it when it drops. It's not going to be available months later, and so on. It's just when it drops, it's going to be a certain amount of pieces, and
limited,
very limited, and the ones who have it, they're going to cherish it. They wear my brand, like a badge of honor. That's that's my main goal.
That's profound, and I see a lot of top-end products seem to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it enhances the value. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.
All
right. So I've talked to people about what goes into their creation and stuff like that, and like what inspires or sparks that creation and opens up that floodgates for the ideas that come to be life. What works for you?
Honestly, I pull from everything. I can be driving on a highway, and it can be a billboard, and the way the billboard is just displayed, the light is hitting it, I could just see like a certain shape or whatever, and the light bulb would just go off in my head, and I just pour from that. Or like here, we're in the park, I could just be looking up at the trees, and the way that the angle of like certain branches is, I can see a design in that, and I just pull out my notepad and my phone and just start jotting certain things down. Also, what? For instance,
I can understand that.
I can really understand that. I do that a lot. I pull over a lot on the side of the road and just take notes. So I pull from everywhere. I'm not limited to just going inside a fashion catalog and just trying to recreate something that I see. No,
a duplicate.
No, I'm not. I'm not with that. Everything. I pull from. I would say I am inspired by everything. So that's where I get my inspiration.
That's deep. I kind of work in that same way, and it's crazy how the creative mind works sometimes. And like a certain thing that really has nothing to do with it will influence the creativity, and just boom, all this shit comes to be born. It's great. Let's cut there. Sure. So, being a fashion designer that's based here in CT, which is Connecticut, who are some of the other designers in CT or even out of CT you give props to, or you have worked with or willing to work with? Elaborate on that.
Well, number one, I would say a friend of mine, Magic, he has his brand is called Maneuvers. What I like about him and his brand is that he has a certain lane, that he's in when it comes to fashion, and he doesn't veer left or right. It's just straight. It's just straightforward with his, Maneuvers brand. And I told him that one time. We had a heart-to-heart, and we had a talk about it. And I let him know, I'm like, listen, like I really respect you and your brand because you stay in your lane. Like, you know exactly what you want to do, and you don't deviate from that. And he was like, yo, like, I'm glad you said that. And, me and Magic, we always had a great relationship. We went to school together. We went to high school, AI Prince Tech. So me and him was always building. Another person, my boy Mike, he's a firefighter. He has the brand Impossible. Me and him, we network and stuff a lot. Not really about fashion, just about just life and just about building, just really like entrepreneurial stuff. Another friend of mine, who else? my boy Chaz West, Freakish Culture. Big up to Chaz.
Alright.
Chaz, I went to school with Chaz also, AI Prince Tech. Chaz, he's been designing longer than me. He started in high school. He will create his own clothes, like vests, jeans or whatever, you know, and wear it to school and things of that nature. And I'm really proud of him, you know, in his vision and things of that nature. Like, I feel like right now he really figured out like what he wants to do with his brand. So, you know, those the main three that I really like, you know, connect with a lot, you know, and like really have like real conversations about fashion. You know, I'm really proud of everybody in Hartford or in CT of that matter, you know, who are, you know, in the same field, you know, fashion, you know, entrepreneur, just trying to get out that 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to do something to inspire, you know, just everybody.
And especially with the clothing or just fashion design itself, it's not an easy industry to get into, and you're constantly being critiqued.
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking of that, shout out to Heaven and Hell out of Hartford. It's basically the only fashion brand that I know besides McFly Stitch. So shout out to Heaven and Hell. With that being said, say somebody would like to get into this, you know, who's, you know, younger generation. What advice would you give to them to start off with this, like, and give some insight of like the things that they'll be going through?
Number one, I would say to don't be, you know, discouraged, number one. You know, number two, have some money put away. You know, that was, because for me, I did it. Like, I just went into it just with a vision. I was not thinking about, you know, funds as far as funding my business and things of that nature. You know, so I would definitely say do your research first. I would say most important, because that's what I did. Your research as far as have a business plan, you know, have some goals, you know, some structure. You know, the business plan will have some structure, everything laid out as far as, you know, what you want to do, and as far as, you know, your vision for your business. So have a business plan, you know, figure out what type of lane in fashion you want to go through, you know, see if, what audience, you know, find out your core audience first. Create a LLC. A lot of people have brands, but they don't have a business. Once you create a LLC and have a business account, then you really own a business. You can't just have something and you selling it and you not, you know, like doing it the proper way, I would say.
And what about, and I don't mean to interrupt you, what about getting your stuff copyrighted? Like, is that part of the process? Like,
yeah, I would say that. I would say, yeah, but the LLC definitely helps you. That's the first step. You
so
can
that's
get
the first step of locking it in?
Yeah, because you know, you have everything on file, you know, but as far as like your designs, yeah, you can definitely trademark and copyright your designs, you know, if that's the route you want to go to, you know, because there is a lot of plagiarism in this business. I've done seen it. I've done went through it a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot, but you know, that goes back to people being inspired, I would say, because people do pull from you. They might not have the same concept, but you can see like, all right, I understand. I see where they got it from. It's not taken away from what I'm doing, so I'm gonna leave it alone. So
inspiration is nothing wrong. It's some people that want to just ride your coattails and just take all the glory off of your hard work.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, you're definitely going to go through that, but I would say, you know, just have a plan. You know, just do your research first about fashion. You know, see what lane that you want to jump into. You know, just have some money put aside, save, create your LLC, website, things of that nature before you even, you know, introduce it to the public. You know, just have that structure, that foundation first, and then you implement it, you know, to everybody.
That's some good sound advice, man. Take heed to it for all you young, up and coming, inspired fashion designers and stuff. So with that being said, they get all that out the way. Now let's talk about some of the struggles that come with this industry. Elaborate on that.
For me, for instance, I would say as far as saving. So let's say for instance, all right, I sell you this piece, right? Hand to hand versus you purchasing it from my website. I sell you this, you know, for $50, $60 or whatever like that. You now give me the money. In my head, I'm like, I have to now put this money into my bank account. We are now parting ways. I'm driving. I know I need gas now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna 9 times out of 10 use the money that I just, you know, that I just got. You know? So I use the money for gas now. And now another note I have to put in my head, I have to put this money back now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I wasn't doing that. So then when it came time to re-up and things of that nature, I had to pull from my own personal money versus from my business money. I was doing that a lot for years. You know, and it's just now,
That's deep. Yeah.
Just now, you know, I'm really separating the business versus the personal. Because at the end of the day, we all got bills. We all have bills, we all have families, and it's like I can't keep pulling from my personal funds to, you know, to basically support my business. If I was doing things the proper way, I wouldn't be running into these things, but it comes with the territory. I'm not mad at it. I'm glad I ran into these, you know, these
early on.
Exactly, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that's #1 for me, because I was like, damn, like, you know, like I shouldn't have did this, or like, you know, but for years, like the first like 3 years, I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. But I was fortunate enough to accumulate a certain amount of money with my sales, so I always had money when it came down to, you know, funding my business. But it's like I could have had at least 3 to 4 times much if I would have just did things the way that I was set out to do. So, you know, you're gonna go through hurdles. You're gonna go through hurdles in life and business.
As
but
you do with anything,
as long as you
life,
learn
right?
from it,
yeah, and bounce back.
Exactly, exactly.
Don't get discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's a lot of clothing and fashion designers out here, and each one of them, for the most part, have their unique designs and everything. How do you make people, with all this competition out there, how would you make somebody gravitate to your design, say, rather than go to Gucci or Fendi or Louis Vuitton or Polo, like you mentioned, and stuff like that? Because I've seen in the past a lot of fashion designers, brands fall back, you know what I'm saying, and become non-existent or vintage, you know what I'm saying, like FUBU, cross colors, and things of that nature.
That's a great question.
Elaborate on that.
I would say, honestly, for me, I'm for the people. I created this not for me, for the people. I was just sitting down one day, it was probably like 2015, 2016, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I need to create something for my own, you know, something that has my name and stamp on it, versus me just wearing all these labels, you know, people who don't really care about me and my culture. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I'm like, you know what? Let me come up with something that's, you know, that's relatable and that people, you know, can gravitate to. You understand what I'm saying? So I started brainstorming, you know, I meditate a lot and things of that nature. I'm into abstract art, and my logo is a circle. You understand what I'm saying? It's a circle, it's a yin-yang sign, and it has McFly Stitch in the middle of it, you know? So I would say, with me, what I get a lot is that my brand is not like anybody else's. You know what I'm saying? I make sure I stand out when I'm designing and when I'm presenting it to people, because that's what my brand McFly Stitch is about. You know, it's not for everybody, but I want everybody, you know, to know about it. You know, I want my brand to become a household name one day. You understand what I'm trying to say? So my designs are eye-popping. You know what I'm saying? You can see it online, see it on social media, but when you've actually get to feel it, you understand. You know, it's just like an aha moment, you know, versus you seeing it, you know, on the internet and versus you seeing it in person. It's like okay, you know, I wouldn't even say respectfully on this. This is 100% facts. I have the best quality, hands down. Everybody knows it and everybody says it. I would say that's the number one feedback that I would say that I get, you know, from my supporters. I wouldn't even call them customers, you know, because they support me and I support them. They are my supporters. I wouldn't even say customers. So that's the number one thing that I get from my customers.
Which is a good way.
Quality. You like, where did you get this cotton from? I learned early on just conversing with certain manufacturers and being in these warehouses, just going over certain fabrics and just feeling them. I'm now at the point where I can just walk into somebody on the street and see what they have on. I know the quality polyester content. I know what type of cotton it is. Like, I'm that deep into the fashion that I know, like, what type of cargo pants you have on. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm that deep into it. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, it's something you can teach, but it's something you just gotta feel also. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have real love for it to really understand. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, a lot of designers don't understand that certain prints are not meant to go on certain fabrics. You understand what I'm saying? You have to, you have to have a high quality content to really embroider on, or it's gonna look loose. You know, like basically like the design is just going to be like it's going to be hanging. Like, around the design, you're going to see, like, basically, you know, like the shirt, it's just like, it's not going to hold. You know what I'm saying?
Now, with that being said, seeing we're on that topic, like, now when you put this on the thing, is there any type of protection to keep it from cracking or fading or anything like that? Is that a concept that you have to think about as well?
Yes, it's a few different ways, you know, to get your design on an item. You have DTG, which is direct to garment. You have screen print. You have heat presses. You have embroidery. You have just
and you touch all that.
Yeah, you know, it all depends on what design I want to come out with.
Okay, let me replay.
Okay.
You have touched all that.
Yes. And
I can see some of the embroidery.
What I like the most, I like patches. I love embroidery. I'm not really a screen print person. That's where you get the cracks at. I'm more DTG, direct to garment. This is direct to garment. Direct to garment, it makes the colors pop more.
Yeah, I can see
it makes it pop more. If I was to screen print this, it's a whole bunch of colors. It's a whole bunch of different screens to even get this design done. When you DTG it, it's just seamless. It's just all these colors just all in the machine, you know, and it comes out perfect and crisp like this. You understand what I'm trying to say?
So what format is this? Is this like vector?
Vector is a different thing. I did vector one time. I don't really, it has that plastic feel. I don't like it. This is DTG.
Oh, so that's what that's the format it is.
Yes, yes. This is DTG.
All right.
Direct to garment. I like that because it makes the image pop. It makes it pop.
All right.
It'll still look good if it was screen printed, but it really wouldn't at the same time. It's just a lot. It's too many screens. Each screen has its own color. It's just, the process is just too much.
And that thought process has to go into when you're doing all this.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is just more than just designing it, but you gotta actually figure out what kind of fabric you're putting it on.
It's a science.
And
it's a whole
people
science.
Don't understand
they don't.
All that goes into
unless you are really in these shops, like, you know, like I am, and really building a relationship with these manufacturers. They will put you up on game, because I didn't know that at first. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will do the job for you. Like, if you want something done, they will do it for you. Because at the end of the day, you're providing them a service. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're making money off you versus you making money off them. You make money off of your supporters. So you going to them being like, I want this, this, and that. If they're not building with you, have a certain relationship with you, they won't even put you up on game. You know what I'm saying? So then you get your product back. Then now you are dispersing it to the people. And then now they're like, hey, what is this? I bought this from you. It's not holding. You know, the quality is this and that. My design is not intact. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? So you got to understand what goes on.
So get it right done the first time.
Yeah, but you know, you can go through, you know, trial and error. But that's why I said, do your research first.
Exactly.
Do your research first.
All right, so I gotta raise this controversial question, and some people gonna take it the wrong way, but it's not intended the wrong way. So, fashion design is a white-dominated industry, and there are some black fashion designers out there who've made it big. You know what I'm saying? A couple of people from New York and stuff like that from back in the day, and you know what I'm saying, that have made it real big. How does it feel to be a black man with a black-owned business who's a black fashion designer in this white-dominated industry? Elaborate on that.
Most importantly, I would say I'm here to take it over. You know, straightforward. Honestly, you know, with me,
it's a deep question, huh?
Yeah, it's ownership. You know, a lot of people don't own what they're selling. You know, us as a people, you know, black and brown people, we don't own warehouses. We don't own these buildings that we can sit down and create in. That's where it comes down to, you know, the funds. A lot of times we don't have access to certain things, you know. Me and the white person can go into a bank at the same time, apply for the same loan, you know, for our business. I will get denied, that person will get accepted. Or both, we both can get accepted, but he gets more money than me. You know, we go through all these, you know, I would say regulations and unfair treatment. You know, we always at a disadvantage, you know, especially, you know, in fashion, because we don't own anything. For one, you gotta own your brand. You gotta own the business. You gotta, I would say, like, own a property as far as like a building or something like that. And, you know, just hire some employees and teach them, you know, to do the work that you want to, you know, be displayed to the people. You know, buy some screen printing machines, buy some embroidery machines, buy some sewing machines, things of that nature. Like, stock up on certain things that's going to help you rise to the top. A lot of us don't think like that. You know, we want to get in certain industries and not really knowing the foundation and not really understanding why we're always at the bottom. That's where it comes down to ownership. I'm big on that. A lot of people don't. Like I was telling you before, as far as having an LLC, you can want to create clothes and have a brand, but is it really a brand if you don't own it? If you don't have an LLC, you're not paying taxes.
Or is it really your brand?
It's not really yours. So if someone comes and you think that they're taking your idea, how can you fight that in court if there's no substantial paperwork saying that this is my brand, I pay taxes, I own this entity? There is no argument at that point, you know.
So make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's.
All the time.
All right.
All the time.